Hello, my name is Chris Costantini. The topic for today is the refutation of illegal immigration. The advocate's main claim was that illegal immigration leaves a positive impact on the United States. Joe, the advocate, three major claims. Illegal immigrants help the economy, illegal immigrants pay taxes, illegal immigrants are law-abiding. I will address each of these claims individually and show my reasons why they are inadequate. I will start by making my claim that illegal immigrants are negatively affecting our nation's economy. I am going to deny the claim that illegal immigrants are helping the economy and present evidence why illegal immigrants are damaging our economy. The main piece of evidence presented by Joe was that our agriculture industry is completely dependent on illegal immigrants workers, and without them there would be a shortage of workers. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in September the unemployment rate held at 5.1%, and the number of unemployment Americans was 7.9 million. Considering the large number of unemployment Americans, this proves that the illegal immigrants in the agricultural industry could not be replaced. Ira Melman, media director for the Federation for American Immigration Reform, said, "We know that unemployment is higher than reported and that wages are lower partly due to illegal immigration. Not only are illegal immigrants taking job opportunities from U.S. citizens, but they're also helping lower the wages down because of willing to work and lower wages of native-born citizens. Many times people argue that these jobs that U.S. citizens do not want to work. Although that it might be true, the evidence is factually incorrect and does not rule out these 7.9 million unemployed workers that could potentially be accommodated into the agricultural industry that is being taken up by the illegal immigrants." Moving into my second point, I will claim that illegal immigrants' tax-paying system is inefficient and unfair. Yes, it is true that some illegal immigrants pay taxes. The only issue with that statement is that there is still a question of how many illegal immigrants are living within our borders and not paying taxes like they should be. A study by the Institute of Taxation of Economic Policy found that undocumented immigrants paid $10.6 billion in state and local taxes in 2010. A figure that includes $1.2 billion in personal income taxes, $1.2 billion in property taxes, and more than $8 billion in sales and exercise taxes. The average income for illegal immigrant household is around $24,721, while the government benefits and services supporting them are paying around $10,334, which had to be borne by U.S. taxpayers. The Department of Homeland Security estimated in 2014 that there are 12 million illegal aliens residing in the United States. U.S. is collecting taxes from illegal immigrants, but the amount of money that is being used for the resources to support them versus the amount they are contributing is much greater. Although some illegal immigrants do pay taxes, they are still not documented workers in our nation, and they're technically not required to do so, so that is unfair for the rest of the hardworking Americans in the nation. This leads into my last point, which was that illegal immigrants are law-abiding. Illegal immigrants cannot be law-abiding, and that statement in itself is contradictory. The law clearly states if the particular instance of an unlawful border crossing occurs with success, then the illegal resident immigrant of the United States can then become subject to an effort of deportation proceedings transacted by the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Another claim that was made was that the illegal immigrants that are successfully living within our borders are less likely to commit crime, but the second generation of immigrants tend to have a higher crime rate. The Federal Bureau of Prison reports that 26.4% of inmates in federal prisons and non-U.S. citizens are non-U.S. citizens, and non-U.S. citizens are 8.6% of the nation's adult population as well. 1/4 of our nation's prisons contain non-citizens, which causes the second generation immigrants to be raised in poorer conditions in households, which will in turn cause a domino effect that will hurt our nation's economy, our nation's educational system. So in conclusion, crossing the border illegally is against the law. Therefore, these people cannot be law-abiding. There is no way of justifying these people who are living within our borders and who are taking advantage of the resources that our government is supplying and providing. It is unfair for hardworking Americans, and I hope I was able to convince you guys that illegal immigration has a negative effect on our nation. Thank you.
All right, structurally things are good. It's easy to follow. You signpost all of the secondary points that you're responding to very clearly. On the first point, there's a kind of a challenge based on the number of people who are unemployed. And I thought that your explanation there is pretty good. I do think that there is some issue about whether or not the domestic citizens would be willing to take the jobs, and how much of the 12 million, for instance, that you're talking about are in the agricultural field there. I don't remember if the advocate gave any numbers on that. You don't give any numbers on that. So the notion that the jobs are all in these undesirable agricultural contexts, I think, is too easily accepted in this situation. But I did think that you did show that there is a potential employment in that field itself. I just think that there's a broader argument to be made here, and you probably need a little bit more information on that. On the tax argument, the question about whether or not it's fair is a value claim, and it's not really relevant to the factual issue of whether or not there is a burden that's borne that is disproportionate or unrepresentative. That's a slightly different issue. You had good information about the amount of taxes that the advocates, that the illegal immigrants are paying. That comes from the advocate's argument, but where's the data on the amount of benefits that's being supported? You had one statistic that said that it's $10,000 for each of these families that has a $24,000 income. And then you made the inference that therefore they're drawing more than they're putting in, and that's the stuff that I'm missing. Where's the calculation or the explanation or the on-balance evidence that says that that is in fact the case? The 12 million that you're talking about, assuming that they represented $10,000 expenditure for each person, maybe. Is it for each group of four? Then I'm not exactly sure that the numbers would balance out the way you're talking about. I think you need more explanation on that point. And then, like I said, the fairness issue is really more about the value claims. That's not really part of what we're talking about here. And then the question on whether or not they're law-abiding, you do basically have a premise here that says, by definition, they can't be because they've broken the law to enter the country and work illegally. So I understand that premise, and it seems like a reasonable inference to make. I thought you had a good follow-up argument that showed that a substantial number are involved in criminal activity. When you have the statistical information, maybe as a percentage of the population, it's a little bit different. That was the advocate's argument. But when we're talking about the percentage of the population in federal prisons, and more than 25%, more than a quarter of them are not American citizens, that does seem to suggest a problem here. And I think that your argument on that was relatively clear. And then there's this argument about this second generational issue that we've got a domino effect coming. I think that needed to be explained a little bit more. All right, thank you.